All right, all right, all right, all right. Hey, it's the David Washington Show. I'm your host, David Washington of Jay in Washington, here in Central Florida at the Oxford Sports Pub and Secret Society in Altamont Springs. And what a day! It is Thursday, Content Creation Thursday. Please come on down. The food is phenomenal here. The food is just phenomenal. And while you're here, please come and listen to us. And if you got comments, if you want to add a little bit to the conversation, we will love to hear what you have to say. So let's get right into it. What if, what if Ron DeSantis is not running for president? What if he's not running for president and this is all a huge grift? And I say this because of different things. First of all, whoever's managing Ron DeSantis and his alleged future campaign for office, presidential office, it's amateur hour. Hey, I haven't been on the national stage. I admit that in my 30 odd years of political experience. However, from the point of view of a political consultant, how this is being managed, I've seen way too many campaigns, big and small. How this is being managed is just incredible. How far his own political agenda here in Florida has moved to the extreme right may work in the primary. However, don't think what's happening now is not going to be reported after the primary for the general election if he makes it, if he does decide to run for office. This stuff is going to be out there. I mean, really. I mean, the Disney stuff, the woke stuff, the ESG stuff, little girls' menstrual cycles. I mean, this is bizarro campaign. Anyway, whoever's handling the governor, it's more than just about money. It's about showing professionalism, statesmanship. It's showing vision that a majority of Americans, not Republicans or Democrats, but a majority of Republicans, voting Republicans, will decide in November 2024 that Ron DeSantis would be president moving forward. So again, number one, whoever's handling Ron DeSantis right now, it's a big question mark from my point of view. Number two, in invoking Trump in his campaign, Trump's been there. He's run for national office. He's become president. So he knows what it takes. And when he filed and proclaimed his his run for president back in November 2022, I believe it was around November 19th, if not that day. But when he filed and proclaimed his presidency, the election cycle started right then and there. It doesn't start any other traditional way for anyone else. It started there. And what is Trump and his organization doing? Building an organization, getting those particular endorsements that he needs to solidify the support early. If you look at the vast number of party Republican Party leadership in the individual states, a lot of them are Trump supporters, led by Trump supporters, were organized and advocated for Trump over these last 8 years. That's huge to overcome. Now the DeSantis supporters, they'll say, "Oh, nah, he's got a lot of money already. He's got a pack that, bring in more money." Believe this. Believe this. Having money does matter. And remember, the Biden administration, they raised $1 billion, $1 billion to win. And the field was cleared out for him early after the South Carolina primary because the establishment was behind them. They came together with support from the African American community, ran out the clock. He was the nominee. I just don't see, with all the money that DeSantis' campaign can come up with, being able to, one, convince the early primary states to say that he is the candidate over Trump. A recent poll that I saw showed that about 65% of Republicans who would likely vote in the primary want Trump to run again. I'm not a big fan of polls, but I know the DeSantis camp is. I know the Trump camp is. I know the Republicans are. And so money matters. But if you're not spending that money early and creating an organization, and even though you're creating a shadow organization, presidential committee organization quietly and things like that, but things done in the shadows will likely stay in the shadows. And when your main competitor has already been there, has already been president, and has started early and established that support early, no amount of money in the world is going to help you. Honestly, it's not. And do you really want to use all that money to play catch up and then go up against a very powerful incumbent president who will likely raise the same $1 billion? I just don't see it. I just don't see the DeSantis campaign putting together in this short, yes, it is short, in this short of time of getting supporters, workers, volunteers on board, believing in the message of the DeSantis campaign and effectively running an organization that will deliver. I just don't see it. I really don't. And I'm not the only one. I really don't. Another thing about why it's probably better that Ron DeSantis doesn't run this year. There's other good candidates like Nikki Haley. She seems to be a little bit more moderate, even though she worked under the Trump administration. Where DeSantis' resume right now, his reluctance to engage donors one-on-one, his troubles overseas, his presumption that what's good for Florida is good for America. Oh boy, it's a stretch. It really is a stretch. And when I've said in the past that politics is a blood sport, with those handicaps, Ron DeSantis is wanting to take on the former president in a vicious primary, seeing what he did to 12, 14, 16 other candidates last time. And Trump already laid into Ron DeSantis. Again, when are you going to run? When are you going to make a statement? When are you going to, file for office? Everything is up in the air. No one is giving any decisive decision. The more that time passes, the less relevance that this Florida governor will have. Some people are saying, wait until 2028. Will Ron DeSantis be relevant then? No. His legislature here in Florida have decided to pass legislation, the Republicans, to allow him to run for president while still being governor. In the past, you would have to resign to do that. So Ron DeSantis has an out. Well, Ron DeSantis has a way of, getting his name out there, even more so, becoming a national figure, becoming a national speaker for the conservative cause, earning lots of money for his future, for his kids, for his family, take the hit and lose in the primary, but have a very lucrative future as a conservative speaker on the speaker circuit. This could all be, again, a ploy to make money. And in politics, you can make a lot of money. So maybe it's more beneficial personally for Ron DeSantis to stay out of the race, run out his term as governor, enjoy this great experience, this great experiment of conservative politics here in Florida. See what sticks, see what doesn't stick on a national level. And just move on right off into the sunset. However, do Floridians a favor and either become a candidate for president or just govern as a governor. They need you down in South Florida after the floods. They need you in the governor's mansion doing governor stuff. It's not as romantic as being president. It's not as glamorous as being president. However, for a man who comes off as not so exceptional compared to the forerunner in the race for the Republican presidential primary, the Ron DeSantis campaign has a lot of work ahead of it. A lot. Again, Trump campaign, they mean business. And I will quote, all we need to do is beat the shit out of DeSantis. So their money has to do a whole lot of different things. Their super PAC has to build a ground game, tell who he is, and tell people why they shouldn't vote for Trump. That's a quote from someone in Donald Trump's camp. That's a heavy lift for the DeSantis campaign. And what's happening here in Florida, as far as conservative politics, is not what's happening in America. Hey, this is the David Washington Show. Please visit our channel at J Washington on YouTube. You can see our videos, see our podcasts, listen to them on our website at j-washington.com. Leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm right. Let us know what you want to talk about, what you want to hear us talk about. Again, this is the David Washington Show. We'll see you the next time.